Hello, this is OldCrowBalthazor. Welcome to Balthazar Strategic Arcana. So I'm happy to announce I have yet another multiplayer match of Lion of Africa, designed by Ryan O'Shea, also known as BiteNibbleChomp. I'm going to be playing the Entente. He's going to be playing the Central Powers. Let's go and take a look. So this series is going to start on March 1st, and we're going to go do daily uploads. Well, a lot of our turns already upload, but when you see them, it's going to be a daily series for both sides. There'll be a link to his channel in the description if anyone's new to my channel or unaware of BiteNibbleChomp. He is a developer. He's a great designer of games. I'm going to discuss a little bit about Entente strategy. Now, I don't want to give any spoilers. We have been playing for a while. I have played him in beta a couple times, and as an Entente, and the first time ended up in absolute unmitigated disaster. The second time we went in a little ways, and but we had other tests for other scenarios we had to do. So we went a little ways, but I started practicing something I was going to do. So I played the Germans, and I'll tell you this too. If anyone watched my last series, I played the Germans, and I went crazy and tried to get in here, break through his lines, take Rwanda, and hide in the mountains. That didn't work out too well. This one, you're going to see how the German player, in multiplayer at least, is going to be able to do a magnificent defense of his colony. And I almost guarantee, I think there's 50 turns. Let me see here on my log, but I also look. Yeah, there. Well, in the game it starts. Yeah, there's 50 turns, right? Well, I can almost guarantee, guys, that we aren't going to know the final who's going to actually win or not until the 50th turn. Now the Entente starts first, so the German player actually gets the last shot. And basically, I'll just make it easy for everybody. For the final victory conditions, if he has one unit left anywhere on the map, he gets a minor Central Powers of German victory, which is exactly historical. I'm going to try, and what happened too was Lettow, one of the Lion of Africa, von Lettow-Vorbeck, him and a couple of units managed to go through Mozambique, and they ended up surrendering down in Rhodesia somewhere. I'm not quite sure where, but this is northern Rhodesia, this is southern Rhodesia, which is now Zimbabwe and Zambia. Anyway, what I'm going to attempt to do is the French word, a cordon sanitaire, which means I'm going to try to restrict him from exiting out of the colony anywhere, and that's going to be difficult. His Ascari with porter upgrades, basically mobility upgrades, they can go far. They can move 7 hexes, and so if they open up an area, they can force march folks in. But anyone watch my series, I did that. For what I'm going to do is try to cordon off this and not have any Ascari units get behind my lines anywhere. The reason why is because if even one gets loose in the hinterlands, like Mozambique, down here, or worse, even Kenya, I'll have to. It's a wild goose chase, right? So I could track them down, kill them, but it stops my advances. So I'm going to zoom in here. I call this the Kenya Army. Right now it's commanded by Van Devender. I do not have General Smuts, which is a great general. I'll have to purchase him eventually. But there's Smuts right here. He's a 7. Well, Long Lettow is a lot better. And anyway, all of his troops they're good, right? So strategy over here. This is Mount Kilimanjaro. I've got to break him here and try to push down the northern rail line. And I mean, this is pretty unique. This rail line here, he can defend all this right here. Meanwhile, he could try to get around behind my flank. One thing I'm gonna have to do research. I'm gonna have to prioritize. It's unique to this. I'm gonna need infantry weapons. The Germans are gonna get it. For the British for sure, and the Belgians, and maybe the Portuguese. But that's difficult because the Portuguese don't make a lot of money. But essentially the British and these guys. The other tech I'm going to need is native porters. I do not have native transporter tech, which is mobility, and I can only get it up to 1. Another thing that's extremely important is artillery weapons, because in this scenario, go out, this artillery cannot detrench until I get level 1. So, and some of these areas here, he can detrench up to 3 in these jungles. So that's gonna be a research priority, and of course, command and control. Whether I go with gas or shell production, I don't know, because you can, if you have good shell management, you don't need this. Spy intelligence, I'm not sure. The other one that's extremely important here, because the supply issues are so terrible, is logistics. For everybody, if I can, but primarily the British and the Belgians. All right. Industrial tech, I'm not sure. Long-range aircraft would be nice, but I'm not sure about that. Anyway, so my strategy here is just to push down and see what I can do. And you know, a bulk of my reinforcements probably show up here. Now, over here is a different, it's wide open here, right? But he can defend this pretty well too. I don't have a lot of forces. Now, I read the campaign, historical campaign, and what the Entente did, and it gave me an idea, which I'm going to implement. I'll give you a little spoiler there. When they finally started pushing down here, it was a grind here, and it was a grind here until they finally had a breakthrough. And what they did was they put a little bit more force over here. I mean, they added units and stuff like that. And they pushed down to Gigi and then made their way to Tabora. And if we look, this is going to be a major objective, this rail line. It's going to be Gigi's Industrial Center, Tabora, Morogoro, and Dar es Salaam. This is the Central Railway, by the way. So anyway, probably meander a little bit. So one of my long-term strategies, and I gave it a lot of thought, is I'm going to have to almost make this a hammer, I think. Or the anvil. This will be the hammer. Problems with that is I can raise Belgian troops here and British troops way over here or here. It's a long ways down. There's hardly any roads. So there's that. Also, you know, well, we'll see what happens. Anyway, I do have 2 naval units here. He has 1 steamer. Down here, he has a nasty little vessel here called the Graf von Goetzen. Now, as long as the Goetzen is within 2 hexes of I think the port. Anyway, as long as it operates, my Belgium national or fighting spirit's going to go down. So eventually, I'm going to have to try to sink it. Right now, I start with just 2 ships, but I probably will have a decision to make another one. So we'll probably do that. Down in the south is where I have suffered playing Ryan before as an Entente. He kind of gave ground here, right? And I had this force, and yeah, I covered this a little bit, but I went way up in here, and he got behind me. He cut off this whole entire force, including General Northey, and killed it. That's in the beta. I knew that these guys are fast, but anyway, he lured me in an ambush that was so bad, I was crushed. And then this was all open. You know, I started building units and place them down here. Long ways to supply this. To bring in new reinforcements, you got to bring them at Belgium units in Elizabethville. You can force march and try to get here, which is a great place for supply. I got 2 primary supply centers here. Got 5. Now, Abercorn. That's a nice sounding African name. It isn't. That. Now, Portugal, Mozambique. Very difficult to defend this. If he makes a push down in here and gets loose down here, the Portuguese are really weak. So I have thought of some strategy. I'm not going to give any spoilers on that, but I thought of something I can do to help the Portuguese. Meanwhile, we got to just keep them out. And later on in the campaign, we'll see what we can do. One objective will be taking Kayonga, if we can take it. That might be difficult, but the Portuguese get a big boost if they do. But their forces are extremely weak. The infrastructure of this old colony is terrible. It's a Portuguese colony, man. Sorry if you're from Portugal, but they administered Mozambique and Angola, Western Portuguese Africa, terribly. And they're still suffering because of the legacy of that, of their rule. But now the Germans, they really administered their colony well, and they treated the soldiers great. And you know, at the beginning, I read the history of it. There was some atrocities and stuff, but they finally, believe it or not, in Bismarck's Germany, Imperial Germany, they had some progressive governors here, so the population was treated a lot better than, like, let's say, the Belgium Congo, which is a personal fiefdom of King Leopold of Belgium. I mean, and the Congo is still suffering from that legacy. It's a place like Goma up here and whatever. So anyway, so yeah, I don't know if there's anything else I can say other than that. It's great. I'm going to have a hard fight in my hands. I have to plan out everything. But again, number one strategy I'm going to try to use is to keep them out of breaking through anywhere. And then I'll have to tell you, it's probably going to, at times there's going to be fast and furious, and other times it's going to be like watching the glaciers of Kilimanjaro slowly go downhill. Sadly, I think they're almost all gone. Still snows up there, but that's a whole different topic. I don't want to get into that one, but it's sad. So there's that. So I hope you guys come and watch that. Again, that's going to air on the 1st of March. I'm going to have it set at 10 a.m. We might shift that a little bit, but it'll be on March 1st. So will BiteNibbleChomp. So there'll be a link to his channel. If you want to watch, again, a masterful defense of his colony, it's a sight to see, right? And I have to use every wile that I have, every scheme, and a lot of planning to deal with this. The supply's terrible. Some of my generals are basically donkeys, you know, not real bad donkeys, but they're donkeys compared to his forces, and his forces are motivated. Some of ours aren't. There's diseases, bad weather. When it rains here, this place is a sod mess. All right, there are rainy seasons, so I think that's it. So basically, yeah, but in March, on my channel, I'm gonna have 3 series going. It's this one, and then there's the one I've got with Strategy Wolf Games, which is we're playing the 1846 conquest of Mexico, also designed by Ryan O'Shea, by BiteNibbleChomp. And then I'm playing the one with the 1943 scenario, War in Europe, with Dudeman. Well, that one's going to go to the bitter end too, man. I think all 3 of them are. But the one with Strategy Wolf Games, this goes up every other day, 6 o'clock in the morning. And then my one in Pacific, and then Dudeman's, we're doing dailies, and that's going up at they're going up at 9. I'm sure there's plenty of people watching this will know about that. But if you're new to the channel, yeah, I've got 3 going now. I have plans with other YouTubers, including some that I played before. We're in early plan stages. That's going to be later down the road. I can only handle 3 at a time, and I'm doing a test. I'm doing a test of one of the scenarios that's going to get updated, and I've been doing that casual. And then I got my own personal life and my wife, who's been very nice about allowing me to do this, because I spent years and years I couldn't war game. I was traveling, working all the time. You know, I take my computer with me, play Distant Worlds or War in the East solo. Multiplayer is the way to go for me, man. That's how I get my kicks, man. You dig it? Anyway, I think that's it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. It's a good one. I'll guarantee you. And I don't know what the outcome is, but I almost can guarantee we're not going to know until maybe literally the last turn of this epic match that me and Ryan, or BiteNibbleChomp, are producing. So with that, well, hope to see you guys on virtual battlefields here and everywhere else. I am gone.